How are you doing? Good to see you. Awesome.
Okay, so I guess we'll get started. I'd like to call this Parks and Recreation, County Parks and Recreation Commission to order. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
You can lead us on.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I gotta practice that more often.
No, you're fine. And if I can get a roll call, please.
Absolutely. Marie Peterson is absent. Nelda Escamilla is absent. C.R. Gonzalez, District 3.
Present.
Alana Miller let me know she was going to join via Zoom. Alana, if you're the participant named Roger, can you raise your hand? Okay. I'm going to promote you to panelist. Please accept your promotion. Alana, you should be able to unmute yourself. Can you confirm you're participating via Zoom? Okay, let me see.
Got it. I know it shows Roger.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Maria Spandry
Present.
and Paul Hain.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum of 3 commissioners.
Thank you. And the department announcements are the commission announcements? Is that what we're, oh, okay. Okay. So public comments, this is the opportunity to address the commission on items of interest not appearing on the agenda or not scheduled for public hearing. No action may be taken unless provided by 4GC 56954.2. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. This commission does not hear matters regarding Veterans Memorial Park, please. And then we have a separate meeting for that, so.
There are no public comments in chambers or via Zoom.
I need a motion for consent items, please.
I make a motion to consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. So 7.1, resource management, Mr. Loop, Public Works.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. Steve Loop, Public Works Administrator, and I'll be providing an update to various capital improvement projects that are ongoing for the parks in our county. First, we'll start with Veterans Park. I might have mentioned last time, but the roof replacement and the partitions have been completed for the existing bathroom that's near the picnic tables. So the final phase for that building is to do wall repairs, lighting installed for exterior and interior of the building, as well as painting. And we actually have a contract that's currently in review by our county council, county admin staff department currently. So once the contract is approved, then the work will be completed within 3 to 4 weeks, according to the contractor. So just kind of a side note, for those who don't know, county staff, and specifically some of our contract staff, have been reduced over the past couple months, as in there were 2 positions eliminated. So we have a real good county council staff, but they're taking over a lot of projects and things and contracts. And so the contract's in there. county admin arena now, so we're just waiting for them to approve the contract, and then the project will take about a month to complete. So that's the status of the bathrooms. We have some good news on the parking lot resurfacing and lighting improvement project, which the designs are complete, so we just have to get a permit with the county or the city of Hollister at this point because we're doing some frontage improvements. But the project was put on hold because of county budget reductions. However, very recently, as in 2 weeks ago, the county received an offer from Verizon, the cell tower owner that's on site, kind of behind where the new restrooms or the remodeled restrooms are, by the playground area. There's a cell tower there. And Verizon, the owner of the cell tower, offered the county $429,000 to essentially say, instead of doing a month-to-month lease, we will give you this lump sum amount, and that just allows us to be on the site without paying month to month. So the option is either $429,000 or a month-to-month lease. It was either $1,600 or a little over $1,600 are the kind of the two options. So what we're going to do is we're going to present that to the Board of Supervisors, those options, just because it's a funding decision and a contract decision is maybe the more accurate way to say it. And so because they approve those kind of contracts, staff's going to recommend the lump sum payment, because if that's accepted, then you can combine that with the $770,000 that was set aside for the park impact funds. And together, that project with hardwire lighting was the cost estimate is just over $1 million. So it'd be able to we could put it out to bid, the full project, as opposed to lights or surface or striping or different phases. We could put the whole project out to bid, and then hopefully just work with the teams, but just start building it as soon as it works with the teams. So
that won't come before the Vets Park Commission?
It will. So after the board says, okay, here's your lump sum, $400,000, then the Vets Park Commission will say, it'll be presented to the Vets Park Commission. Maybe we have to have a special meeting to make it quicker, but the Vets Park Commission would then decide, okay, we do want to use that for the parking lot project or not. So it does have to go back to the Vets Park Commission, because they ultimately decide, believe it or not, on the projects for the park. The county does kind of the funding side, but the Park Commission says, yes, we want that to be allocated to that project. So that's what would happen essentially. So very good news. Hopefully, fingers crossed that'll happen very soon, because a few weeks ago, that wasn't the case, but today that is the situation for Vets Park. Then jumping over to the historical park, we actually got a proposal from a vendor to allow visitors to utilize their cell phones, and they can have a narrated walking tour of the historical park. I think it was only $6,000 or $7,000 a year, maybe even a little bit less. And it would also kind of work with sort of the hearing impaired folks. And so we're going to present that contract, because it's a contract for a project, to the Board of Supervisors in December 16th to be precise. And hopefully they'll approve that, and then we can contact the vendor and they can install, they have these very small devices that they mount throughout the historical park. And obviously we're going to work with historical park folks for the content, and the content can be updated and revised. I don't even think there's a limit. They're probably, basically you give the content to this vendor, and then they load it on their software, and then that software broadcasts it to these little devices that are located throughout the park. So small project, but kind of a neat project. Potable water system at the historical park. We've actually been working with a couple consultants, because the state water board has said, due to the number of visitors at the historical park, you county have to make it a public water system, because right now it's essentially used for irrigation in the picnic areas and whatnot. And there aren't any water quality issues, but the state's saying, well, we want you to make it a public water system. Once they approve that permit, let me take one step back. The water hazard assessment we're supposed to have a draft of that, it looks like next week, November 20th. Once we have a draft, we're going to send that to the state. And then hopefully they say, okay, your draft looks good and you can finish your permit application. Once we finish the permit application, then the one thing that's likely going to happen is we're going to probably, we're going to have to put some backflow devices kind of throughout the park, sort of as redundant backflow devices, which basically means water can go out to, say, the irrigation system, but it can't go back into where the well is. So that's something we'll probably likely have to do. The other thing we'll likely do is put a sediment filter on the well pump itself, because we have sediment issues, and like the new bathroom remodels, sometimes sediment gets built up and it kind of forces the plumbing not to work great, and so we have to go out and flush it out. And so that's likely what we'll have to do with the water system itself. We think that'll be about $40,000 or $50,000. And there's a couple consultants we can use. Once the state approves the permit, then we'll reach out to a couple of consultants, ask them for the recommendation. We'll probably also likely have to put a water meter into the ground, and just because we have to measure the water we're using at that point. So that's the historical park status. Maybe I'll just run through all the parks, then we can ask questions. One good project that's going on with the historical park, REACH actually received a grant, and they're kind of our local parks nonprofit organization. They received a grant for about $60,000, I believe, to do a new shade structure near the playground area. And the county, through a board approved item, said, we'll give you another $50,000 because the project was going to cost $110,000. So together, that $110,000 project, it's REACH is looking for contractors to start that shade structure installation. So that's the other project that's actively being implemented at the historical park. Sunnyside Park. So in May, we did what we're calling phase one of the park itself, which is just constructing a fence, a wood fence around the park area. About a month and a half ago, the fire department gave us a heads up that they would needed to access the creek due to a river creek fire from someone that was living in the creek. And so they had to cut out a section of the fence. And so we're trying to now get 3 proposals to install a gate where there's currently a cutout of that fence area. And that gate area was blessed by the fire department. We had a site meeting after they had to access and cut through the fence there. So then the other item, we do have plans and specs ready for the park itself. That's also going to be being reviewed by downtown. And so there's a list of things that are being reviewed downtown by county council. And so once that bid package is reviewed, then we can go out to bid, or we can hopefully construct that park in the spring. The current estimate for that park is just slightly above $1 million. So, but we have park impact funds to build that park as well. We do. And then lastly, well, actually, it's not lastly. There's a couple parks after this. Ruby Regional Park. Some good news there. The county staff recently met with California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And originally, there was going to be a $2.2 million requirement for offsite mitigation for salamanders, and California tiger salamanders specifically, because potentially we're affecting their habitat. Well, with some help of our state legislatures and CDFW, we kind of looked a little more, took a deeper dive into the park and where the physical features are and some of those things. And then reduced that 2.2 million down to 655,000. The even better news is that Fish and Wildlife has said, if you would like, county, you can pay, instead of paying $655,000 all at once, you can do like a phase A permit payment and a phase B permit payment, because currently phase A is going to consist of kind of a gravel parking lot with some concrete ADA parking that's been on hold for a couple of years because of this permit. That project was already bid and ready to be awarded to a contractor, but we had to wait to get the salamander permits. So that project's about, it was closer to 1.1 million. We had 3 bids, and that was the bid. So there's that. And then there's about $6 million left over of park impact funds when you combine it with state grants that we have. So we have the parking lot for $1 million and other improvements for $6 million. So that's all going to be called Phase A according to the permit, the parking lot plus the $6 million of improvements. And so the good news with that is the Board of Supervisors said, okay, next step, on October 28th, proceed with that design and permit and bid package, because basically the plans are ready to be bid. Now, if we built everything, the whole park, it's 22 to 25 million, depending on how foo-foo you get and what you want to do. So we don't have all of that. We've applied for a grant that might not ever happen because of some federal things going on. But long story short, just to do the 7 million, which is the parking lot for $1 million, and the other good fun things for $6 million, we're going to create a bid package we already have the bid package for parking lot, and we already have the design plans for the overall park. So we're going to carve out the $6 million and actually proceed, which is amazing news. And so theoretically, the parking lot project could start springtime, assuming we get the permit. I'll go through schedules in a minute. And then the bigger park would probably start a little bit after that, probably late summer. Sure.
Is this all impact fees?
It is. Yeah, so part of
All of it, and the grant, is how long is this grant available? Or is it about to expire? Is it?
Great question. So excellent question. There's 2 grants. The parking lot, we have a grant for $750,000, expires in 2028. And the overall park itself has a grant of $2.4 million of the $6 million. And that also expires in 2028. So we really have to build Phase A, I'll call it, by 2028. That's when the grants expire. And that's part of those included in those costs. So most of the parking lot is built with the grant, $750,000, and park impact fees would put about $300,000 on top. And then for the big Phase A, $2.4 million would be accompanied by $3.6 million of park impact funds for the $6 million. So great question. So we have till 2028 to complete the construction of those good things. So.
And the reason why I'm asking is because is any of it coming from, not being selfish, but how much of it is it coming out of the general fund? Is it taking away from the rest of the parks?
It's not. That's the good news. That's one of the reasons why we couldn't do maybe everything at once, I guess you'd say, because there's the $700,000 allocated for the striping parking lot. There's $1.1 million allocated for Sunnyside Park. And just for full disclosure, of that $1.1 million for Sunnyside, there's actually a grant for $400,000. So we have $700,000 for Sunnyside plus a $400,000 grant.
And when does that grant expire?
I think it's also 2028, but don't quote me on that,
Okay.
but I'll check.
Because that's what I'm worried about. It's all intermingled
Yeah.
and twined, where if we don't get all of this done, we're going to lose money and all of the parks are going to suffer. And so what I'm worried about is that if there's not enough general fund to supplement each of the parks or enough impact
funds.
fees, then we all suffer. So if we don't have enough impact fees, general fund, and the grants are about to expire, then are we going to have to pick and choose what gets done?
So the good news is with this extra $400,000 from the cell tower, we have the $400,000 Verizon, we have the grants, and we have park impact funds. We're not relying on general funds at all.
But
So
the
that's-
worrisome for me, is that if it goes before the board first, we'll have no say about the cell towers, which it could be a beautification thing, where what if they can do whatever they want? They can add on multiple repeaters, and it could be, it could be a visual issue. And it's still in the middle of a residential area, and it's a big company. What are they going to do to our fields? It could be it could be a mess if we're going to let them do whatever they want. What attachments are they going to put to that field? And is there any is there any limits of what they're going to put to that contract? Are they going to build anything else to it? Are we just going to say, yes, give us $400,000 and then they can do whatever they want in the area?
So good questions. It does not change the terms of the lease. It's just, it prepays the lease, but the terms of the lease do not change. So whatever the lease is today.
Did add repeaters. They added 3 more repeaters without really saying anything to us. And so that's why I'm not believing them.
So and again, I forwarded this to county council, but the lease, whatever is stated in the lease about adding repeaters, that's not changing. That's all I can say to that. So,
But that's just repeaters. That's not changing the visual of what I'm worried about is what are the fine print of what they're going to change. And before I even want it to go to Board of Supervisors, I want to see that. What are they going to do? What's the bottom line contract? I know it's something to finish the park, but I'm not going to sell our soul to something for 20 years down the line and then our names being on that. Oh yeah, that Spandry person did that 20 years ago and they didn't think about what was going on in the future. It's still a veteran's name that's behind it. And I still look to the future about what they're going to do to us. But with all of this, with the impact fees and these grants, everything is interlinked between all of our parks. And that's what I worry about between all of us. And that's why I'm asking about when do the grants expire? When are these impact fees? And on the selfish part is is this coming out of the general fund for, how are we picking and choosing who gets money from when we've been begging for all of this stuff to get finished at Vets Park? How are we picking and choosing what gets done at the parks when we've been asking for years? So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, great questions. And for what it's worth, I forwarded the contract from Verizon to the Vets Park commissioners, so they have the contract. I forwarded the contract to county council, our senior county council, and the assistant county council, so they have the contract. So I'll dig into it myself a little bit more, but from my understanding is the cell tower remains the cell tower. I don't know if they could put some more repeaters, which are, they're 2 feet wide and 10 feet long, approximately. I don't know if you drive by, you can see the repeaters on there, but the terms of the lease don't change for the cell tower. That's the best way I can say it. So, yeah. And
I just want to see the contract first. So
yeah, you bet. Like I said, I sent it to Beth.
Like I said, everything is just intertwined between all of us, and it's just the funding is what I'm worried about. Is us losing those grants are so important, and the expiration dates. That's my main concern. It's like if we don't get moving, and if we have lack of funds because of the way our budget is right now, I'm just worried about us not being able to do anything. And then we're just spreading our eggs all over the place, and then we can't finish even one project. That's what my concern is that we're spreading everything too thin, and then we can't even finish one project. That's what I'm concerned about.
That's why we have to go out to bid and get bids, just like you're saying. I agree, because then we'll know the actual price. Just because I say it's 1.1 million, maybe it's $1 million, maybe it's 1.2 million. So those are valid questions. The good news is the numbers I threw out are existing park impact funds and existing grants.
But the money's there. That's what, the impact fees are there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the good news. So, okay. To acquire the environmental permits for the Riverview Regional Park will take approximately 4 months. Once we submit, and so our design team has to create the bid package for that $6 million of improvements, and we'll be able to tell CDFW this is the project for Phase A with the parking lot. Then that'll take 4 months to acquire the permit, and then we can go out to bid, actually send it out to bid for bidders. And then we can construct Phase 1 because that's already been out to bid, and we have a low bid. And assuming the contractor still wants to, as of a few months ago, the contractor said yes, they still want to build the parking lot. And the parking lot itself only take 4 to 6 months. Contractor says about 4 months. It's about 90 parking stalls. There is room for some food trucks. There is ADA parking, but it's essentially kind of a rock, gravel, nifty parking lot to help the environment and some water percolation. And
Question about the parking lot. So how much is it going to cost us for maintenance of that parking lot since it's gravel? And because that's the problem we have at Vets Park in the soccer area, it's gravel. And we have complaints about that area, potholes and everything. What's the benefit of having the gravel versus having pavement?
you don't, it essentially percolates. It's, besides being gravel, to add some more detail, there's a plastic grid that's thick. And so the gravel actually goes into a grid, and it's not just gravel that's loose. It's actually pretty compacted. There will be gravel. You'll see gravel. There'll be gravel coming out of there, but it allows the water to percolate, and it gives you a smaller footprint of impervious area, which helps with permits and things, so that the water, you know, if it was all impervious, like a standard parking lot, then you have to put it in a spot and kind of treat it and do some things. So when it's gravel, you don't have to do that. So that's the advantage.
And where does the runoff go to? Is there runoff that goes into a certain area? Are we able to, if there was rain, does it go into someplace else or?
Yeah, so whatever doesn't percolate, there's a drainage system grading plan for the park and around the parking lots. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good questions. So the overall park itself, the big part would be constructed within approximately 14 months. And if we want to complete the other remaining park features, we just have to keep applying for grants. Another question to answer, which is a really good question about maintenance, the county staff requested an additional maintenance person in addition to Lupe, because Lupe is amazing, but he's one person. So we asked for a second person also so Lupe could train that person, because who knows how Lupe, you know, it's not going to work for forever. And so, but that position was unfortunately not approved. We're hopeful now that if, you know, the River Regional Park is becoming a reality, we are going to need at least one more maintenance person to answer your question. And then we work with the prison crew and do some volunteer things. Well, not volunteer things. The prison staff have to help us. Long story short, we've asked for one more person. It was not approved. So next budget season around March, this upcoming March and February, we're going to have to re-ask for a person and say, hey, you know, River Regional Park is going to be built soon. For all of us in the room, technically, the supervisors could wait another year for the park supervisor, but we're going to ask for it again this March because the park's going to be 14 months to build, right? So technically, you probably have another budget season until you really need another maintenance person. Then there's some thoughts and one of our staff has put together like a adopt a park plan, park sponsorship plans. So there's some things for the maintenance, but long story short, we truly will need at least one more maintenance person for that park specifically because it has no other maintenance funding, which we'll talk about in a second for some of the other parks here. So the next one is San Juan Oaks Park. So this is a good example. When a homeowner buys a home in San Juan Oaks, which is located off of Union Road and 156, that homeowner pays an assessment of just under $2,000 a year on their homeowner's assessment, property tax. When you pay property tax, there's a little line that says CFD assessment. And part of that CFD assessment is, in a good way, for maintenance of these parks. So we do actually, with our current contractors, we have had pretty good luck with, like, for example, say Santana Ranch. They pay into a fund, CFD fund. We use their funds to hire contractors to help maintain their park. We'll be doing something similar with the two parks I'm going to show you in a moment, because there's funding set aside for maintenance of these two parks with the CFD assessment that a homeowner pays every year on their property tax bill. So this one, it's an interesting park. They call it the Olive Park because it's near an olive orchard. It actually technically has a trail. We've had them install a trail around the whole olive orchard. It's kind of a walking trail, but it's really the intent of this park from the beginning was to set up a place where you could have weekend pop-up activities or events, maybe like a mini, farmers markets, holiday market, those type of things. And so it's really generally supposed to be a walking trail and then just a little vendor market for folks to utilize. And that was always designed that one. And then you drive down the street about a quarter mile, keep going down San Juan Oaks, towards San Juan Oaks, the clubhouse and the golf course and those type of things, you'll see this park. And so this is what we're calling the community park. It's got a large dog park, a small dog park, a couple playground features, some turf, a picnic area, and a community garden. So one of the things we'll probably be removing from Riverview Regional Park, because San Juan Oaks is building one, is a community garden. We could always install one later if we have more money for the Riverview Regional Park, but we're going to have a brand new community garden in about 8 months in this location. And we're going to, county staff is going to have to maintain and operate that with the CFD money, of course. So that's in a good way. We're going to have a new community garden down there and then a little parking lot. And that's the layout for that. Park construction is to be completed in May 2026. They actually got their environmental permit, 8 or 9 years ago when they went through their whole project permitting status for San Juan Oaks. So they've had their permits for quite a while. So they pretty much have to complete, I think it's the end of May, because until the parks are completed, they can only pull so many building permits. I want to say the number is 250. Don't quote me on that, but there's actually a trigger that until you finish these 2 parks and dedicate them to the county, you can't build more homes. So they're very anxious to get the parks built. They just started maybe a month ago, perhaps, on the construction of those parks. And then finally, as we talked about last time, there's an ad hoc because there's going to be some wayfinding signage installed for those parks. And the signage can come, May, June, July. They don't have to be right there, but ideally you want it to be about May is when the signs get installed for some interpretive signage. I believe Commissioner Miller and Spandry are on the ad hoc. And then last time they just put out as a suggestion to the other members of the commission, the other commissioners, do you have any other requests for folks to be on the ad hoc? And then once that list is created, the list will get forwarded to the Board of Supervisors, and the ad hoc can start having a couple meetings. And what we'll do is we'll organize those meetings with San Juan Oaks and their landscape design team. And it's kind of up to the ad hoc what kind of interpretive signage they would like to see. It could be, per the settlers in the area. It could be, the original use of the farm, ag, land use in the area. So it's just up to the ad hoc what they'd like to see in the San Juan Oaks Community Park for the wayfinding signage. And that is the update for this evening. I'll pause for public comment and/or commissioner's comment. So, thank you.
So we'll go to public comment first.
I have a question.
We'll go to public comment first, real quick.
There's no public comment in
Okay.
chambers or via Zoom.
Okay, go ahead.
When you talk about the first little park at San Juan Oaks, you said it's there at the where all of the olive trees are at. Is that the very beginning of the as you drive in?
Yeah, right as you drive in off Union Road and you look to the right, you'll see olive trees up on kind of a hill on your right-hand side. And then you'll actually start to see a little bit of construction there. So that's correct. That's where the location is.
What kind of parking considerations are there? Because I go by there, I don't see places to park. Is there a parking lot?
Correct. Yeah, they're actually installing a parking lot. I believe it's 10 or 11 stalls. I believe it's 1 or 2 ADA stalls. But that's part of the project is to install a parking lot. So.
Okay.
Do you have anything else? Did you have anything else?
Oh, no.
Okay. Did you have anything?
No.
I don't have anything else. I think I berated you enough. Sorry. Okay.
All righty. Thank you. I think there's another item from Miss Stephanie here.
Hi there. So we're going to go over the calendar for 2026. So this commission meets quarterly, the second Wednesday of every quarter at 5:30 p.m. So the dates, Ms. CMAP, if you could please pull up the. Thank you. So the first meeting you're looking at will be February 11th, 2026, then May 13th, 2026, then August 12th, 2026. Except for November, the second Wednesday in November is actually going to fall on Veterans Day, November 11th. So instead, we're going to meet the first Wednesday of November, November 4th at 5:30 p.m. Is this acceptable to you? And I need a motion to adopt this calendar.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. So we're going to go to commissioner announcements. So I'll start with, do you have any announcements?
I don't have any.
No. Commissioner Heen, do you have any announcements?
Well, we had with Point Blue and the RCD had a planting day on the south edge of the historical park. And actually, I went out and spent a couple of days clearing that's always a catch-all area. And so it got removed from along the fence. And if anybody wants any firewood, it's a little aged, but it will burn, and it's going to burn fairly soon.
Okay. Good, very good. Okay. Commissioner Miller,
Oh,
do you have any commissioner reports? Did you have anything to report?
Alana, you're muted just in case you're trying to talk.
oh, let me unmute. Sorry. No, I don't have anything to report. I'm just excited about River Park finally.
And we had a lengthy meeting at our last meeting. We did meet with all of our different groups. It was actually a very good meeting. We asked them all to be present so that we could talk to all of them about what they thought their roles were at the park. So it was a good meeting. We actually got to clear up a few things, and so it was really nice. And we did talk about the cell towers. Mr. Loop is probably very tired of me, but we talked about the different, and I think mostly the main concern is safety. And so lighting was definitely on the top of everybody's mind, as well as the striping, because people are having a difficult time driving in the area because they can't seem to remember the directions they're supposed to be driving. And they're worried about the safety of the kids because they kind of run into each other a lot. They were just kind of running because they're excited to play. So, and that's about it. We were just, like I said, we're just talking mostly about safety and the concerns about how long it's been taking us to get this project completed. So I think the frustration was noted. And so we were just trying to see how we can get this completed. We are excited about the cell towers, but I think we just need to be cautious. And so I'm looking forward to looking at the contract and just making sure that we're okay with that. But yeah, that's all. It was a good meeting, the last meeting. So, but yeah, so that should be it. So the next thing on the agenda is future agenda items. Does anybody have anything they would like to see on the agenda or anything in the future?
No.
If we could be innovative about somehow getting more funding for maintenance. You know,
Most definitely, 'cause-
that's just a shortfall in all the parks.
Right. So I agree with that because unfortunately Lupe he's amazing, but I don't know how, I don't know how long we can only drive that man so hard, so long. So, yes, we'll have to talk about he does. Yeah, I agree. Maintenance we should talk about maintenance and see what we can come up with. I think another thing is how we're going to fill other seats. I don't know how we can fill District 5. That's been a bit concerning because that's been vacant for a very long time. So I don't know if I need to reach out. I think, is that Supervisor Velasquez's district?
It is.
Okay. 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 So I guess that won't have to be an agenda. I mean, I guess I can just reach out to him and ask him the status of that. So I think that I don't have anything else for the agenda. So I think that's it.
Okay.
Does Commissioner Miller, do you have anything that you'd like on the agenda?
No, I think you've got it covered. Thank you.
Okay. So with that said, I think I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Motion pass. Thank you.
Thank you.